Mechanical engineering. My advice to current ASR students is just keep pushing through it and it'll be rewarding in the end. I want to shout out to Olivia for completing ASR and graduating and joining me in Michigan next year. Go Blue.
Thank you, Olivia, and congratulations on your phenomenal research. Good evening. My name is Ekaterina Fakinos, and I am a junior in the ASR program. Over the past 2 years, I have worked with my mentor, Dr. Aristotelis Tsirigos, on the reactivation of hematopoietic stem cell gene signatures in leukemia patients. This summer, I plan to continue my research at the New York University Langone Medical Center, as well as the Athens Panakion Scientific Institute. During my time at Kennedy, I've met many different students that I would classify as A, extremely intelligent, B, multi-talented, or C, empathetic, friendly, and kind. It is with great jubilation that I introduce you to a student who epitomizes option D, all of the above. She is a distinguished student, a deserving researcher, and a one-of-a-kind friend, with whom I share so much more than the school we attend. She volunteers in her church, is an exceptional athlete, and is in 2 choirs and the orchestra. Her project, entitled The Effect of Bimanual Arm Training on Patterns of Muscle Activation in Stroke Patients, was completed at the NYU Langone Research Center under the mentorship of Preeti Raghavan, in which she earned a research report badge through Regeneron SCS. It is my pleasure to introduce Nicole Koriwa.
According to the American Heart Association, about 92.1 million American adults are living with the after effects of a stroke. It accounts for every 1 in 19 deaths in the US and is the leading cause of serious long-term disability in the United States. Hello, my name is Nicole Koriwad, and today I'll be presenting my research entitled The Effect of Bimanual Arm Training on Patterns of Muscle Activation in Stroke Patients. Stroke is the leading cause of disability and the 5th leading cause of death worldwide. After stroke, there is a decreased ability for the patients to fully contract their muscles. Accessory muscle pairs are 2 muscles that work together in order to perform a given task, and research shows that these 2 muscles working together improves motor function of a patient. Rehabilitation helps train a person back to their full possible level ability of motor function. In addition to rehabilitation, bimanual arm training is a method that has been used to show improvement in the motor function of patients. In specific, the bimanual arm trainer, a recently developed device in 2016, is a new device that shows that is used to help repair the motor kinetics of patients. This led me to hypothesize that after training with the bimanual arm trainer, or BAT, accessory muscle use will decrease relative to primary muscle use. In addition, the improvement in primary versus accessory muscle use will correlate to an improvement in the clinical assessment, the upper limb Fugl-Meyer assessment. The study was a chart review of 4 patients, 2 males and 2 females, ages ranging from 36 to 61. This is a drawing of all the muscles that were used in the original study. In this study in specific, we used the latissimus dorsi, the posterior deltoid, the pectoralis major, and the infraspinatus. Experimentation prior to chart review consisted of a pre-2, and post sessions that had clinical assessments and EMG data, and the training with the BAT consisted of 3 times a week for 4 weeks. The analysis of the data that I did took place in 3 parts. There was a comparison of the raw muscle data from pre to post for each subject. There were ratios that I completed of the main muscle to the secondary muscle use, which is, you want to see an increase in these ratios for the patients. And lastly, I looked at the correlation between improvement in muscle use and the Fugl-Meyer assessment. The first muscle pair I looked at was the infraspinatus versus posterior deltoid. And as can be seen in the graph here, all the ratios of main muscle to secondary muscle use increased for all of the patients in this muscle pair. The next muscle I looked at was the latissimus dorsi versus posterior deltoid. And once again, as can be seen, all of the ratios increased for these patients in this muscle pair, showing improved motor function in this muscle pair. And the last muscle pair that I looked at was the pectoralis major versus the posterior deltoid. And excluding subject 1584, who was an outlier, all the muscle pairs increased for this muscle pair. Next, I looked at the improvement and the correlation between the clinical assessment, the Fugl-Meyer, and improvement in these muscle ratios. All of the patients' Fugl-Meyer score increased from pre to post, showing that there was increase in motor function. My first correlation was between the infraspinatus and posterior deltoid and the Fugl-Meyer assessment, and I had found a correlation of 0.946, showing a direct relationship between improvement in this muscle pair and improvement in the Fugl-Meyer. My second correlation that I looked at was the latissimus dorsi versus the posterior deltoid, and here I found a correlation of 0.564, also showing a direct relationship between improvement in muscle pairs and improvement in the Fugl-Meyer assessment. After using the bimanual arm trainer, all of the patients' muscle scores increased, and their ratios increased as correlated to the Fugl-Meyer assessment. This shows that using the bimanual arm trainer, patients can successfully train their muscles back to motor function and back to rehabilitate themselves after training. Also, when the muscle use was improved of specifically these accessory muscle pairs, the movements that these subjects did were faster and more coordinated. The relationship between the improvement in the motor function and improvement in muscle use patterns was extremely strong, especially the correlation that was found between the Fugl-Meyer assessment and the muscle pairs is significant because these Fugl-Meyer assessment is used by clinical physicians every day to assess the motor function of patients. And now if they can use EMG data to validize their scores, then this can improve the reporting of motor function of patients. It also supports the efficiency of the newly developed bimanual arm trainer. Some limitations of this study was that it was a single group pre-post design, which means there were no control subjects, rather the control was the unaffected arm of the patient. In addition, a larger sample size could have been tested in order to increase the validity of this data. In conclusion, this study was one of the first studies to provide evidence specifically for accessory muscle use and improvement in motor function using bimanual arm training. It demonstrates that using the newly developed bimanual arm trainer is a feasible method to help train patients back to their motor function abilities, and it showed a direct relationship between the clinical assessments and improvement in muscle control. I'd like to thank my mentor, Dr. Preeti Raghavan, and Ms. Seta Bilagalu, Mr. Alvin Tang, for being my mentors and helping me complete this research. My teacher, Mrs. Barbie Frank, for guiding me through these past 3 years and helping me, and my family for always being there for me and supporting me in what I do. These are my references. Thank you.